So you may remember this program from the end of Lesson 2, how it's supposed to give the user an option and then it executes based on that option, and there are multiple options. Now, some of you may be thinking, yeah, but this is really, I don't want to keep typing out all these else ifs and whatnot. But lucky for you, there's an easier way. So that is called switch case. So we'll look at what switch case does. So its syntax looks pretty different from else ifs. So you start out by giving it the word switch, and then parentheses, just the name of whatever variable you want to examine. So in this case it would be mynum, which holds what our option is. And then you have brackets. And then you give different labels that will have case. Then the case labels are labeled with a constant expression. In this case, the number that you're trying to find. So case 1, and you would say, you found a lazy cat. Case 2, you found a pile of gold. Don't tell anyone. Case 3. Okay. So you'll notice that the syntax looks pretty different. So first off, you have this colon here. When that's really telling the compiler is that this, what a label is really, is just a different point in the program where the computer can jump to. And so what this is saying, examine the variable mynum. If it's equal to 1, jump here and start executing. If it's equal to 2, jump here, start executing. If it's equal to 3, jump here and start executing. So, and because of that, there's really no need for brackets. Actually, you shouldn't be putting brackets. So you may notice that I put these break statements in here. And the reason I've done that is because switch case functions slightly different than the if-else-if structure in that once it finds the label it's looking for, it executes everything below it, including the following cases. So if you don't want to keep executing the cases below it, and in most cases you don't, then at the very end of your case, you put a break in there, and that will stop the computer from executing anything more in the switch case and exit the switch case. So, again, multiple lines. Do not, in this case, require curly brackets. It just keeps going until either it reaches the end of the statement or it hits break, whichever comes first. Now, you may remember back from the ifs lesson, if-else lesson, that we had the ability to have a catch-all statement that would catch cases that we didn't program. Switch case has that too. You use the label default, and then you just give it. You tell it whatever its catch-all execution is. And again, you don't have to have default. So, but that depends whether you need to have something to catch every contingency or not. So, a thing I should note about switch case is that it doesn't function exactly like if-else in the sense that you have to have constants here. So you can't have, for example, if you're trying to compare different strings, you can't have a string in the case. That won't let you do that. You also can't give it the name of a variable unless you've given it const in the declaration, making it a constant. But because the way we're using mynum in this, that makes const not usable in that sense. So, in other words, the only things that should show up in your switch cases are, make a list here, ints, floats, and I think most, in general, most number-based types will be accepted. Chars and enums. I imagine there are more, but this is really all you should be using in switch cases. Enums, we haven't gotten to yet. So, that is really all there is to switch case. Up next is the next chapter, which is organization, and our first lesson there is functions.